If you're healing from trauma and you feel like your body is lazy, your body is always procrastinating, it sabotages you, it doesn't listen, it doesn't do what you want it to do, I want you to know that there's nothing wrong with your body. There's simply a miscommunication between you, your mind, and your body. And just like any miscommunication between two people that speak a different language, that miscommunication is going to cause a gap in the relationship. And the way to heal that gap isn't to force the other person to do what you want them to do, but rather to learn to understand each other and therefore create a relationship where you can work as a team. Well, the same thing is true with your mind and your body. And so I want to share with you 3 things that your body is doing that you might be labeling as being broken, lazy, something negative, when in fact it's trying to tell you that it is stuck in chronic freeze and needs help. And when you can learn to see the signals and know how to help your body, so much will change for you. For myself, I did not even know I was in functional chronic freeze for a long time. And it wasn't until I understood what was going on in my body and started working with it that things really started to shift. So I want to share this with you. The first sign that your body might be trying to communicate to you that it's stuck in chronic freeze is if it desperately needs caffeine to function, not just to feel awake, but to function. So if you feel like you have a chronic caffeine dependence, it may not have anything to do with trying to be awake, but everything to do with your body finding a way to force itself out of chronic freeze. So for example, chronic freeze is a state of low energy. Think of your car battery. Maybe it's been drained over a long period of time. And so maybe you can turn on the lights, but there may not be enough juice in the battery to start the engine. So what do? You go get some jumper cables and you force it to start, right? Well, that's what your body's doing with caffeine. The caffeine becomes the jumper cables because it mobilizes your nervous system into activation. Your heart rate increases, your cortisol levels spike, your alertness kicks on, and then you get things done. The problem with using caffeine is that it doesn't help you to heal. It simply overrides the nervous system, and it comes at a cost because it can leave you jittery with so much caffeine. Now you have sleep issues, anxiety, adrenal strain, and then maybe a sense of failure that I can't get anything done unless I am overdosing on caffeine. So remember, I'm not saying everyone that drinks coffee is stuck in chronic freeze, but if that's your relationship with caffeine, you might want to listen to what your body's trying to tell you. Because staying in that loop of using caffeine only strengthens the belief that mobilizing isn't safe unless it's forced, and that only keeps your body stuck in freeze even more so. The second way your body might be communicating that it's stuck in chronic freeze is when it waits until the last minute to get things done, right? We call that procrastination. We're putting it off until there's no time. All of a sudden there's a surge of energy and then we get things done. So procrastination isn't a character flaw. Often happens because you're in a state of chronic freeze, and chronic freeze is low battery plus high overwhelm. So your body is saying, I want to move, but I either don't feel safe to do so or I don't have enough energy to do so. And so by waiting until the last minute, the external pressure creates a sympathetic activation in your body that flings you, like the same jumper cables as the caffeine, flings you out of the chronic state of freeze. Once again, your body is using something external to jumpstart it. In this case, it's using that sense of urgency. The problem with that is that your body gets addicted to that stress chemistry in order to get things done, which can lead to burnout in the long run. The third sign your body's trying to tell you it's stuck in chronic freeze is when it shuts down when you're about to do something new, right? So you're coming out of your patterns of trauma. You're starting to create new patterns. But when you go to do them, all of a sudden, there's either blankness, brain fog, disconnect, suddenly feeling tired for no reason, a sense of overwhelm before you even start to do anything. So this is a subtle way, but a very powerful way to show you that your body's in chronic freeze. We may call this resistance, but the reality is your body's basically trying to tell you mobilizing to do something new feels dangerous. What we have to understand is that our survival brain views the familiar as safe and anything new and unfamiliar as danger. And danger kicks on your trauma response of freeze or collapse. So the chronic freeze can mask itself as fatigue, disinterest, lack of motivation, or procrastination. And we may view that as our body not cooperating or having a problem when the motive is actually that it's desperately trying to keep you safe. So willpower, caffeine, and pressure, they might jumpstart you and fling you out of freeze, but they will not heal your chronic freeze. Healing comes from building a relationship with your nervous system. And just like with any relationship, the way to create it, or the only way to start creating it, is by listening and speaking to each other and understanding each other. So the first thing we have to start doing is learning the language of the body, learning to listen to what our body is trying to tell us, and learning how to speak to our body in a way that the trauma healing that we're learning from the neck up can sink down so that we can experience healing on a body level. And that's exactly what I teach people how to do in the School of Transformation. I consider it to be like a nervous system gym membership where we build resilience in our nervous system, we build a relationship, and we learn how to uproot patterns and the beliefs that never should have been part of our subconscious programming, that we can step out of protection and into authenticity and connection. If that's something that you're interested in doing, make sure you comment SOT, and I'll send you a link that explains more about what we do in the School of Transformation.